Om Shanti. Unfortunately, South Indian actress Samantha was diagnosed with an autoimmune disease called myositis. And this disease comes with a huge pain, which is quite evident from her recent Instagram post. Recently, while Samantha was interviewing Sadhguru, she asked really superb spiritual questions to Sadhguru, which we do not usually expect from anyone from the cine field. The questions include why life is unfair to her and why there is a division in the name of religions, why there is spiritual ego among spiritual leaders, and what is the answer for the criticism that the New Age spiritualism is just for the wealthy and privileged, and how about the poor people who has no money, no time, but still they are serious in their spiritual seeking. In this video we will cover the answers to all these questions. But before that, let's address the current dilemma actress Samantha is in. So it seems like a deadly disease that has symptoms somewhat similar to rheumatoid arthritis. Even famous pop star Selena Gomez had an autoimmune disease. It was so severe that she had to do kidney transplantation. In case of both Selena Gomez and Samantha, they both had this autoimmune disease only after they had a breakup with their partner. Obviously, they underwent a huge depression. So it is only after undergoing the first depression of our life that we start getting many serious diseases, lifelong diseases. Now let's see the actual question asked by Samantha that is closely related to her present clinical condition. She asked how much of one's life is a result of their past karma or the injustices and unfairness that one faces in one's life a result of their past karma. If so, do you accept these injustices and find solace in the fact that okay, the karma is being cleared, even though it might seem detrimental to our lives in so many ways? So this is such a deep spiritual question that also reveals her true deep pain that she is suffering both mentally and physically now. So is life really unfair, as Samantha puts it? Well, it is not always unfair, but sometimes it looks unfair to us. Calling life unfair is similar to if one puts his hands into the fire and after getting burnt, if he complains life is unfair, so is it the fault of the life or the fault of that particular person? Likewise, whatever we find in life to be unfair, it is definitely not the mistake of the life, but it is definitely our mistake. It is the nature of the fire to burn anything that is put into it. It is its very nature. But if the whole world teaches you and convince you to believe that fire won't burn you, even after getting convinced by those teachings continuously, and if you start putting your hands into the fire, obviously it's going to burn. So it is not that life is unfair to you, only the teachings you received are unfair. So just the fact that you get burnt should teach you the truth, that the fire is supposed to make you feel burnt. Likewise, some of the things we do believing that it is good end up in hurting us. So making us wonder, what bad did I do to suffer such a bad consequence? But the reality is, what you did itself is not good, it is bad. But the world teaches you otherwise. That's the reason you feel the world is unfair to you. For example, if a girl is traveling in a bus regularly and if one guy is seeing her continuously and gradually she falls in love with him, after few months she is really shocked to find the same guy seeing another beautiful girl. So here she may complain that he is unfair or life is unfair to her, but the reality is she might think that she is very beautiful, which is why he saw her in the first place. But the reality is not that. The reality is he is so weak at heart that he can't control his mind or eyes from watching any beautiful girl that is in front of him. If he doesn't find a beautiful girl, he will find some other girl to pass his time. That's his nature. That's the weakness that we find in today's men and women of all ages. If you understand this very truth and save yourself from falling prey to such fatal attractions, then you will be safe. It is because you are so weak that you lose your heart just by a guy seeing you, you are facing the consequences of it because you do not know the truth about this. That is why it hurts. So it is your mistake, because you will see many guys saying you like that, but how do you know? Only if you see, you will know who is saying you. So if you are seeing other guys, which means that's your weakness, that's why you fall prey to such trap. Likewise, whatever pain we feel due to anybody or any situations, there must be some mistake on our part that causes us to feel this pain. Instead of focusing on others to be the reason for the pain that I am suffering, just focus on what you did in the first place that initiated all these things that end up you getting hurt. Here Samantha asks if she should find solace in the fact that karma is getting cleared whenever she faces injustices. The answer is, of course, yes. It is because of our karma that we are facing the consequences of it. Whether it's good or bad, it is due to your bad and good karma. If you look into any of the problems that you face, you must have got attracted to that problem through either lust or greed or anger or attachment or ego. It is only through these 5 vices that you will get into trouble and you will get punished for your past karma. Of course, we all have sinned in our past lives and also in our past births. But still, you will be punished for your past sins only if you touch either of these 5 vices. If you touch lust, so that is the number 1 enemy, you will never go unpunished. That's damn sure. That is why God says you to stay away from these 5 vices. So is it possible to stay away from those 5 vices, especially the lust? Yes, it is possible. For that you need to know why you fall for lust, just like that. It is because we souls have become weak that we get attracted by the external environment. So this weakness of falling for the external attractions started 2500 years ago when this world started becoming hell. Before that, this world was heaven for the first 2500 years, where there was absolutely no traces of any vices like lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego. Even they gave birth through yoga, not through lust. Even though men and women in heaven were very beautiful, they did not have even a trace of lust in them. So just the moment they have, both husband and wife have the thought of having a baby, the wife gets pregnant. That's how in the first 2500 years baby was born, and that is the reason we build temples to the residents of heaven as deities. The reason this is practiced only in Hinduism is it is India that was originally heaven for the first 2500 years. So obviously only we will be worshipping them. And where have they all gone? They have taken several rebirths both in heaven and in hell, and have reached the final part of this time cycle called Kalpa, and they start taking the knowledge directly from God, like you and me. Yes, it is because we were the residents of heaven, we have this privilege to understand the God's knowledge. You don't expect even the highly academic person to understand this very simple knowledge, which is the reason they spend thousands of rupees in following spiritual gurus where they learn absolutely nothing. The reason deities of heaven were able to stay away from these five vices was they were soul conscious, which means they always have the awareness that they were the souls that shines like a tiny star in between the eyebrows, which is why we have this habit of wearing religious symbols like tilaks in between the eyebrows. So they were constantly aware that they were the souls that operates this body, that sees through the eyes, that listens through the ears, that speaks through the mouth. So they were constantly aware of it, so that they were not body conscious. They considered themselves distinct from this body, and they experienced eternal bliss, because the true nature of the soul itself is blissfulness. But that was the case for the first 2500 years, which is why they were blessed with all the wealth, health, happiness and peacefulness for the first 2500 years when this world continued to be heaven. But after 2500 years, this world becomes hell, mainly because we start becoming body conscious. So since we were no longer aware of the fact that we were souls, that we could no longer derive pleasure from within, so we seek out pleasure from the external environment. So that's how we become addicted to sensual pleasures. Then lust, anger, greed, attachment and ego evolves within ourselves, and the soul loses its power, so it always goes in search of something that keeps the soul intoxicated. So that's how it becomes addicted to sensual pleasures. So the addiction increases gradually, reducing the power of the soul drastically, and finally the soul gets addicted to lust so much that it is no longer addicted to any other sensual pleasure. So it needs only lust. It reaches that stage. So that is the stage we all have become towards the end of Kali Yuga, which is now. And it is exactly now God himself, God Shiva, who is also called Allah and Heavenly Godfather, enters an old man's body and he names him Brahma, and he gives this knowledge called Murli, which is available absolutely free of cost in all Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga meditation centers. So what is the essence of God's teachings? Is we need to become soul conscious again, because that's the only way we can make our souls free from the addiction of these 5 vices. So how do you become soul conscious? Because soul has no power to focus on anything for even a little period of time. So staying focused on yourselves, that is on the soul, is not an easy thing. Only if you try it out for 1 hour, you know how difficult it is, because you will constantly be diverted from anything that happens outside and the thoughts that comes from within. So you need to stay away from both of these things. For that, you need to keep your mind busy with the knowledge of God, which is Murli. So as I mentioned earlier, it is available absolutely free of cost in all Brahma Kumaris Raj Yoga meditation centers. It is also available in YouTube and websites. I will give the links of them in the description below this video. Please make use of it, because that is the only knowledge given directly by God. In other words, that is the truth. So everything else was created by humans. Obviously, if God is truth, it means everybody else is not truth. Whatever they say, it is not going to be 100% true. So how do we regain the power of the soul that we have been losing for the past 5,000 years? God says, consider yourselves to be the soul and remember God as a point of light. He is also your soul, which is why he is called Supreme Soul or Param Atma. The only difference between God and the other souls is we enter this birth and death cycle, God stays away from this, which is also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavad Gita, that though I create good and bad, I stay out of good and bad. So good things happen in heaven, bad things happen in hell. So God doesn't enjoy the happiness of heaven, doesn't suffer the sorrow of hell. He stays away from this world in the supreme world or the soul world. So finally he enters an old man's body, and the reason for that is to give us this knowledge and purify ourselves, so that he makes us eligible to take birth in heaven again. Because after the destruction of this world, this world will be renewed into heaven again, because this is a cycle. So just like in a 24-hour time cycle, day and night follows continuously. Likewise, heaven and hell will continuously follow each other without any beginning or end. That is why this is called the eternal drama wheel, called Kalpa. So God comes towards the end of each Kalpa and gives us this knowledge and makes us soul conscious, so that we become eligible to enter heaven. Even though God himself comes to this planet Earth and gives the introduction about himself and about ourselves, about this world drama, not everybody is able to accept God, or to even after accepting God, they don't follow the teachings of God, because here you have to give up body consciousness. How do you know whether you have given up body consciousness? So if there is even the slightest trace of lust, anger, greed, attachment or ego, it stems from body consciousness, which means you are still in body consciousness. You have to give them up, because it is because of becoming body conscious that we have lost everything God blessed us with in the beginning. So we have to get rid of everything that steals all the treasures given by God in the beginning. So in order to do that, you need to be soul conscious again, no matter what happens around you. As a matter of fact, you are going to consider yourself dead, which means in the process of death, what happens is the soul leaves the body. So likewise, you should consider yourselves to be the soul without your body. If you don't have a body, then you don't have mother, father, husband, wife, children or siblings, because they are all bodily relations. You don't have body, then how can they be related to you? Since you are a soul, the only relation you have is the Supreme Soul, who has no body on his own either. So Murli, the teachings of God, enables you to become fully soul conscious, but it takes time. It doesn't happen overnight or over a period of month or few months. It takes years, because we were body conscious for the past 2500 years. So to get rid of the habit of being body conscious for the past 2500 years is not a joke. It really needs persistent effort from our part over a long period of time. So only in the last 100 years before the destruction of this world, God comes. So we are in our last birth, and it is only now we have the privilege to learn directly from God, and we don't have to spend a single rupee for getting this knowledge. Why? This is not given by any spiritual human guru. This is given by true Guru, Sadhguru, God Shiva himself. He doesn't charge his children for the teachings. So after getting these teachings and practicing it sincerely by considering ourselves to be the souls all the time, and by connecting our mind with God, who shines like a star in the golden red colored sky, because that's how this world, supreme world or soul world or Parandam looks like. So we have to constantly remember God like a star that shines in the golden red colored sky. So the more we spend time remembering God, the more our soul is going to accumulate its power of purity. Thereby it comes away from the attractions of this world. Then you will slowly start to experiencing the blissfulness from within, which is going to continue for the next 2500 years. And when you are totally content with yourself, guess what? You will be provided with everything that you need to stay happy for the next 2500 years, because we will be blessed with enormous amount of wealth, that our houses were built from golden bricks. So think how wealthy we would be in heaven. So in order to attain that happy life for the next 2500 years, birth after birth, we will be wealthy and happy. There will not be any trace of sorrow in heaven for the next 2500 years. And all we need to do that to be able to enter heaven is to get rid of these 5 vices. As a bonus, you will be saved from the punishment for all your past sins. Why? Because it is these 5 vices or the 5 vices or the doorways to the trap set by Maya to punish you for your past sins. If there is not even a trace of lust, greed, attachment, ego in yourself, there is no way you will be punished for your past sins. So we need to spend more time in remembering God, and also in remembering the knowledge points of God, which is Murli. We need to read it daily in the morning and in the evening, so that you spend the whole day, no matter what you do, your mind should be busy with either the remembrance of God or the remembrance of the knowledge points of God. That's how your mind is taken away from this world to the new world while we are very much living in this world. So you will always be thinking about how we would be in heaven, how the heaven would be, how the divine characters of the residents of heaven would be. So this is what your mind will be busy throughout the day, so that you will have no time to think about anything in this world. So obviously there is no chance for Maya to punish you and make you feel sorrow. Once you become fully soul conscious by intense effort, you will no longer feel any kind of sorrow. Even if you had to suffer from disease due to your severe karmic account, you will still not be feeling any pain, because you are no longer body conscious. Because to feel the pain of the body, you need to have at least certain amount of body conscious. If you have become fully soul conscious, then you won't feel what the body feels. You will always feel the eternal blissful state, which is the true nature of the soul. And another question asked by Samantha is, how would you answer an atheist who says that the world would be a better place without the divisive policies of religion? Well, only the heaven was without any other religion. There would be only one kingdom, one language, and one way. And to be frank, everybody is an atheist today. They may or may not believe in God, but obviously they do not know anything about God. Whether it's a spiritual person, whether it's a religious person, nobody knows anything about God, because it is not mentioned in any religious scriptures. The reason people love atheism nowadays is purely because atheism removes all the restrictions imposed by religions to restrain us from indulging in sensual pleasures. So people love to be indulged in sensual pleasures all the time, which is why the world has become so cruel now. So atheism is not a solution. It is Maya in disguise. And the next question by Samantha is, people on the spiritual path consider those who are not on the spiritual path inferior to them. Is it not spiritual ego? How would you advise them to not to fall prey to this new spiritual ego? So this is common in all religions. Any religious person will consider others to be inferior to them, which is actually good, because if a Muslim, if a sincere Muslim who prays for 5 times a day considers those who do not pray inferior to them, is really good, because that makes him to be more religious, to be more loving to God, though they do not know anything about God. No religion preaches the truth about God, because all religions are created by humans themselves. So religion is always better than atheism. But after getting this knowledge, you will consider all religions to be inferior and man-made, and it is filled with lies. Even after getting this knowledge, God says you should have pure ego. What is that pure ego? Because here you need to give up lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. That's how you become a true Brahmin. So this Brahmin does not have anything to do with the Brahmin caste. So this is Varna. So here God enters an old man's body and he names him Brahma. So whoever takes this knowledge are actually taking birth from Brahma, from the mouth of Brahma. So they are actually called Brahmins. That is you and me. After listening to this knowledge and understanding this and accepting God, you become true Brahmins. So, how do you consider yourself superior to others? Because the whole world is filled with these five vices. They are body conscious to the core. While you are getting rid of body consciousness. Only when you have this pure ego, you will stay away from becoming body conscious again. You will stay away from lust, because it is not that easy to stay away from lust. It is only when you have this pure ego constantly that you will be able to get rid of those five vices, and you will be able to accumulate wealth, spiritual wealth, for the next 2500 years. And Samantha's last question in that program is, there is a criticism that New Age spirituality is for the wealthy and privileged. How would you advise an underprivileged householder who has neither the money nor the time to embark on a spiritual journey, although they are sincerely seeking for it? I don't know why she used the term New Age spirituality, because although people believe that they still belong to Kali Yuga, those who take this knowledge belongs to the new age called the confluence age, Sangam Yuga, where we meet God directly. That is where the father and children, we souls, meet. So is this new age spirituality is just for the wealthy? As a matter of fact, majority of Brahmakumaris will be poor, and not only that, majority of them will be women. Are they underprivileged? No, they are not underprivileged. They have the privilege to not having to spend even a rupee, but to get knowledge directly from God. But if you happen to be a famous, rich person, you will be falling prey to the spiritual gurus. So you don't have to spend money. It is absolutely free of cost. If you don't have time to go to the nearest Brahmakumari center, it's okay. You can even get Murli online. It is in YouTube, it is in several websites. We'll be giving the links of them. You can listen to them while you are eating, while you are taking bath. You always have time at home. You can listen. It is just going to be for 20 minutes. It is very easy to spend 20 minutes. Even you can listen to it while you are doing some work, like cooking and eating. Obviously, you can't skip no matter how poor you are. And if Samantha happens to watch this video, I strongly recommend her to watch my Tamil videos by searching for BK Saravana Kumar on YouTube, because she belongs to Tamil Nadu, so that she can have a better understanding on various spiritual topics that she may want to see. That's it for now. Thanks for watching.